recently on Ignition, we just finished airing a local series called Hooked Up, which saw Leisure Wheels magazine looking for the tow car of the year. This, the Volkswagen Amarok, came out tops.
But when it came to market, it really did change the face of how people viewed double cab bakkies in South Africa, bringing new technology, new safety, improved interiors and ride quality as well. And all the major profiled brands out there have followed suit with their new models that have come out.
The real challenge though is then for the Chinese brands, because they've always been playing catch up and now they've got even further to go.
Well, Foton have now brought their 4x2 to the market, our first drive of the brand, and having spent some time in the Amarok, it's going to give us a real good reference point to figure out just how close or big that gap is.
So, we both agree we like the styling.
We do.
What's it like to drive?
Big statement coming up. This is probably the best Chinese product that I've driven.
Gee whiz.
I don't know.
That is quite a thing to say.
No, seriously, Lindsay, I don't know if it's because most of the other Chinese products we've been driving have been little
Smaller.
sedans.
Yeah.
But from a double cab bakkie perspective, it is just really, really good.
I would agree with you. It's very comfortable to drive.
Yeah.
Pretty smooth, not too noisy.
Foton has really done well because they've brought in some really big players and big brands
Partners.
and collaborated in this
Yeah.
whole thing. I mean, they're 2.8 litre Cummins engines. The first time Cummins have put an engine into a small commercial vehicle,
Absolutely.
and it's incredible.
Yeah, it is great. 120 kilowatts, 360 Newton meters, and it goes really nicely.
That's I think what I've enjoyed the most driving it is that it's a 5-speed Getrag gearbox, which is also really good, but I don't have to go through the gears because it's got such a good torque curve. From 1800 that power band kicks in up to 3000, so it's there readily available when you want to go, and I think that makes the driving experience so good. Chinese for me, that sausage down a corridor feeling you get whenever you change gears, that was the definitive moment for me. The first gear change, I was like, wow, this is like...
I have had a struggle with third. Granted, I haven't driven it as much as you, but I agree with you. It is a lot more precise in the gear shifts than one is usually used to in the Chinese or foreign vehicles.
And no squeaks or rattles or anything. I mean, I think that's what surprised me is the build quality. Sure, there's hard plastic and that stuff, but it's not offensive. The wooden veneer they've used.
The wood, yeah. I mean, that also shows you where they're going with this vehicle. I mean, they've put wooden veneers in the interior.
But it's not bad. I've seen worse wooden veneers in your established brands.
Yeah.
They've really done a fantastic job putting this together. Obviously, we are in the top spec, the luxury model, which is 270,000 Rand, which is incredible for double cab 4x2.
Talking about being up there with the other bakkies, I mean, we saw it first in Amarok. This has got ABS, EBD, it's got 2 airbags up front. Yeah. It's very well rated from a safety point of view.
Which is interesting when you actually sit and compare with all the top dogs. They're saying it's like a 40% saving in terms of cost.
Yes.
But when you start looking at, like that engine we're talking about, Euro 4 emission engine, Hilux is only a Euro 2.
Which means that it can run on 50 ppm diesel, but it can also take 500, which is useful to know.
Well, that's why they've changed their service interval. And originally I thought, no, that's not a good thing. It's gone from 20,000 to 10. And that might be a concern because you think Foton, reliability, service, dealer network. Look, there are 35 dealers around the country. Another 5 are opening. So I think they're in all the rural areas where I'm sure this car is going to be bought. But Hilux, I didn't realize, is also a 10,000 service interval. So it seems like vehicles that are running with that old diesel, that's kind of the norm.
Yeah, and they decided that trade-off from 20,000 to 10 was worth it.
Yeah. But it's seriously impressed me as a double cab bakkie.
And also when you compare it, you talk about comparisons with other vehicles, from a payload point of view, it's great. From a towing capacity point of view, it's really up there with the big ones.
Well, you spoke Amarok, 2,800, 2.8 ton towing. This is 2,500. Most of the other competitors are in the 1,500 towing capacities. So they've really sort of taken on the big dogs, but where they really are giving them a hiding is that price.
Yeah.
$250 for the entry.
Exactly. I mean, you can't, it's 40% less than a Hilux. So for that trade-off, I think people might just give it a go. In the past, past, this is what a lot of people would have thought of Chinese brands. A little bit wooden and not necessarily something you would look at.
How many more woods can you put in there? An oak wouldn't drive this wooden Chinese piece of nonsense. But honestly, after spending time in the Foton 4x2 Tunland, the question isn't would you,
But rather, why wouldn't you?